This is the moment that the world holds its breath. This isn't just a raid, it's the execution of the Pacific Strangulation Protocol. As American air power and naval might deliver a devastating precision strike deep inside Iran, while United States carrier strike groups dominate the Strait of Hormuz below. At 3:04 local time, a B-2 stealth bomber call sign Phantom 21 races west of Tehran toward the Qaj missile factory, pumping out weapons aimed straight at United States forces. Unknown to the crew, a radar that should not exist has already locked their corridor. The threat display lights up with a single UHF emission. Chinese origin, the exact wavelength stealth shaping cannot defeat. 80 miles ahead, an EA-18G Growler call sign. Venom 11 catches the emission first. The pulse appears on the ALQ-228. Wideband receiver, wrong band, wrong frequency, wrong everything. The weapons systems officer's hands move before the classification even populates. Venom 11 new emitter, UHF band, bearing 085 correlates YLC-8B. That call hits every cockpit in the package like ice water. What do you think is racing through the minds of those Iranian radar operators right now, as American jets and warships close in with overwhelming technological superiority? Is this the beginning of the end for Iran's missile program, or the desperate last stand of a regime that knows it cannot win against United States naval and air dominance? Drop your thoughts in the comments immediately, because the fight unfolding over Iranian skies and the waters of the Strait of Hormuz is about to explode. 40 miles north, Viper won an F-22. Raptor, running completely silent, registers the same emission on its AN/ALR-94 passive suite. Over 30 antennas embedded across the Raptor's wings, fuselage, and tail, each tuned to a different frequency slice, pick up the ghost. 3 bursts give a bearing, 5 bursts give a grid coordinate, accurate within 40 meters. Viper 1 passes the fix via link 16 without breaking radio silence. The YLC-8B is a Chinese-built ultra-high-frequency radar engineered for one-job hunting aircraft like the B-2. Stealth shaping deflects energy sideways, but that geometry only works against shorter wavelengths. UHF wavelengths, measured in meters, render the B-2's fuselage a detectable echo. The Spirit's radar cross-section, marble-sized on every X-band sensor, blooms into something the size of a large bird on UHF. A large bird holding consistent heading at 42,000 feet and 475 knots. Not many geese cruise at Mach 0.7. The system transmits in short bursts, 3-second sweeps, then silence. The Iranian operators know continuous transmission is suicide. Each burst gives the American pilots a snapshot, and somewhere in those snapshots, a ghost begins to solidify. Inside the Growler, Venom 11's weapons systems officer builds the response. Jamming UHF is not like jamming X-band. It is drowning out a marching band. He needs more power and more time. The YLC-8B operators see the American response building on their screens, nose-climbing radar picture washing out. They have maybe 30 seconds before something arrives with a warhead. They transmit everything they have, bearing altitude approximate speed of a contact heading east toward Tehran. The data pushes across Iran's degraded air defense network via fiber optic landlines to every surviving engagement system within 200 kilometers. 90 seconds of total transmission. Then the senior operator shuts the radar down. Smart call about 30 seconds too late. Venom 11 Magnum AGM-88G, bearing 085. The harm is already supersonic, already climbing, already locked on the YLC-8B's last known emission point. Venom 11 does not ask permission. The threat is declared, the shot is valid, and the weapon is gone. That is how suppression of enemy air defenses works. You execute. The AGM-88G latest variant carries GPS and inertial navigation that remember exactly where the antenna was radiating 3 seconds ago. The operator turned the radar off, but the harm already had the address. The warhead detonates and the Chinese-built system, designed to hunt B-2 bombers, becomes scrap metal in the Iranian countryside. China spent years engineering a system to see through stealth, and the Americans turned it into debris in 90 seconds. But those 90 seconds of transmission had already done the one thing that mattered. The data raced south through buried fiber optic relays toward a hidden Bavar 373 battery 14 kilometers south of Karaj that had stayed dark since the opening night of the war. At 0306, the fiber optic terminal inside the camouflaged Bavar 373 lights up, with the first data it has received in 4 days. Bearing altitude approximate speed, contact heading east at 42,000 feet. The battery commander reads the numbers and understands exactly what they mean. The track is rough, but he does not need perfection. He needs a direction. This battery survived 4 days of listening to every other Bavar unit go silent one by one. The commander made one decision: keep the radar cold until a target worth trading the entire battery for appeared. He is staring at that target now. In 60 seconds, he will light the Mirage, 4 radar, and fire the most capable interceptor in Iran's inventory at the most expensive aircraft in the American package. His window is brutally narrow. The moment the Mirage 4 illuminates every American sensor within 300 miles, starts a countdown on a harm. 1 shot, 1 trade. Full power continuous track focus sector scan along the bearing the destroyed Chinese radar gave him. What the Bavar commander does not know is that the AGM-88G that eliminated the YLC-8B has already been replaced. Venom 11 is locked and loaded. Inside, Phantom 21. The B-2's defensive management system catches the new emission instantly. Fire control quality, bearing 175, 14 kilometers south of Karaj. A red diamond blooms on the Mission Commander threat display, and the warning tone fills both headsets. Only 21 B-2s exist. Unit cost $2.1 billion, the most expensive combat aircraft ever built. And an Iranian fire control radar just found it. The harm that destroyed the YLC-8B did not stop the threat, it triggered it. The radar operators, knowing they had seconds to scram, dumped everything they had into the network. Venom 11 reacts within seconds, swinging the ALQ-249 to the Mirage 4 frequency band. The jammer retunes and recalibrates from scratch. 5 seconds to lock, 3 more to start pumping noise. The ALQ-249 next generation jammer floods the exact transmit frequency with amplified noise until the signal processor cannot find a real return. A radar sends a pulse and listens for the echo. Jamming floods the frequency with 10,000 fake echoes. The Iranian signal processor knows a target is out there, but it cannot agree where. Meanwhile, the Bavar's concentrated beam finds exactly what the queuing data promised: a faint return barely above the noise floor, consistent with a low observable aircraft at high altitude heading east. Not a clean track, but enough. Venom 11. Magnum 2nd. AGM-88G. Bearing 175. The second harm screams off the rail and accelerates toward the Bavar battery. 60 seconds to impact an eternity when someone has a fire control radar pointed at your bomber. The geometry splits into a race nobody in Phantom 21 can control. From the west, the harm closes at Mach 2. From the south, the Mirage 4 beam tightens its track on Phantom 21 with every sweep. The Growler floods the illumination beam with noise to keep the firing solution degraded. If the Bavar fires before the harm arrives, the The Syad-4 rides whatever reflected signal punches through the jamming. The Bavar commander fires anyway. The Syad-4 leaves the rail, solid booster punching it through the sound barrier in seconds. The Mirage-4 pumps illumination energy at Phantom 21 to give the climbing missile something to ride. Roughly 20 feet of Iranian-built interceptor solid motor reported engagement range around 300 kilometers. The nose cone houses an active radar seeker, but it is cold right now. During mid-course, the missile rides reflected energy from the Mirage-4 like a flashlight beam on a mirror. 3 seconds of reflected signal is enough to point it in the right direction. The active seeker handles the rest when it wakes up. 3 seconds later, the harm slams into the Mirage-4 radar vehicle, and the battery that survived 4 days by staying silent stops existing. 4 days of patience, 1 trade. He picked the wrong 60 seconds. The missile coasts on inertial guidance, now dead reckoning toward where the target was 3 seconds ago. Based on sloppy mid-course data, the Growler had been actively degrading. The active seeker in the nose is still cold. It will not switch on until the terminal zone. The target could be anywhere within a 2-mile basket of uncertainty. If the seeker activates and locks, it will close at 3 times the speed of sound. If it finds nothing, it will fly until burnout and self-destruct. 3 minutes to release, and a missile hunting a ghost in the dark. Red diamond to the south on the Mission Commander threat display. The Syad-4 still coasting on inertial seeker cold. Still climbing through 30,000 feet. Green timeline bar counting down to release. The pilot takes the stick from the autopilot with the calm that comes from 100 simulated repetitions of this exact nightmare. 40 seconds to release. The mission commander confirms GPS acquisition on all 16 weapons. Doors open, rotary launchers spin up, and the bay doors swing wide. Every inertial surface creating corner reflectors that bounce radar energy directly back. The marble becomes a barn door. The Syad-4 is 15 miles out and closing at Mach 3.5 deep in the terminal zone. The active seeker goes hot. The missile seeker never locks because a US EA-18G Growler jams its frequency, instantly flooding it with noise before it can form a tracking signal. As the incoming Syad-4 closes rapidly at high speed, the jamming remains dominant, preventing a lock even at closer range. Meanwhile, a B-2 Spirit bomber maintains course under intense pressure, releasing a full payload of 16 GPS-guided JDAM bombs. The missile briefly detects a signal when bomb bay doors open, but the jamming overwhelms it again, forcing it to self-destruct without hitting its target. Below the JDAM's strike, Iran's missile production complex with devastating precision, destroying assembly halls, calibration facilities, and critical infrastructure that cannot be easily replaced. Overhead. U.S. naval and air forces coordinate seamlessly with carrier strike groups in the Strait of Hormuz, apophoving air cover electronic warfare, and strategic dominance. Advanced aircraft submarines and destroyers operate in sync, ensuring total control of both sea and air. The strike leaves Iran's defenses crippled, its radar systems destroyed, and its missile production capability severely damaged. This operation demonstrates overwhelming U.S. technological superiority and coordinated military power, reshaping the battlefield and signaling dominance in the region while raising the stakes for any potential escalation. Click subscribe now. Don't miss a single moment of this historic journey. Your time is valuable. We promise analyses as sharp as reality itself. Stay vigilant, stay informed. We'll see you in the next video. Disclaimer: this video contains content generated or supported in whole or in part by artificial intelligence. This material is intended solely for simulation, illustration, and entertainment purposes. It does not represent real-world events, nor does it constitute political or military advice or verified information. Certain elements may be fictional, dramatized, or inaccurate. Viewers should not rely on this video as a credible source of information or as a basis for real-world decision-making.